beneath the landlord's distant throne. They dressed him in his eating best and led him to the house of stone. The steward wore a long white beard, a mask of bone, a sing-song tone. He read the rules, he spoke of holes, of snakes and scorpions grown like stones. Best tell a lie, old chap, he smiled, then clapped the mask back on his face. The landlord's kind, so very kind. He'll tear you from your dwelling place.
Uncle George, with cheeks of ash, stepped down across the darkening stream. The east wind took him up the moor, and no one saw him home again.
Then a window in the wall, and a note as soft as rain, and a voice across the sea said, "Come and come again." Oh, the island, oh, the shore, oh, the sweetness and the pain. Oh, the voice across the sea said, "Come and come again."
He went into the wood to find it. The feeling fled, the sky gone gray. A brown girl laughing in the grass. It's me you wanted all this day.
He lay with her, he lied to her, he filled the wood with shame and kin. Her daughters arose from every tree and called him father, called him in.
The card of rules above his bed, the brown girl sitting at his feet. No place on earth was unhaunted now. No rest, no refuge, no retreat.
But standing at the broken wall, one winter's eve with nothing left, a longing for the longing came, and rose and rose and rose and craved.
Then a coach upon the road, and a head withdrawn again, and a voice beyond the hill said, "Come and come again." Oh, the island, oh, the shore, far across the western plain. Oh, the voice beyond the hill said, "Come and come again." That night he packed his needments up and slipped the latch to walk alone. He set his face toward the west and left behind his father's home.
I shut my eyes and I made a picture in my head, but I couldn't keep my mind on it. I watched my mind instead. Watched it for the feeling, watched it for the spark, but the feeling never came, just the heat and just the dark. Then a voice close at hand, sweeter than the wood. Not the old voice, not the calling, not the way it should. And there in the grass beside me sat a laughing brown girl with no clothes on and the whole wide world.
It was me you wanted, she said. I am better than your silly islands. And I rose and I caught her all in haste, and the bell tone died in silence.
She tells me who I am, she tells me what I said. She remembers all my lies and she sings them in my head.
I traded a window for a body in a glass. I traded a calling for a mirror made of glass. And the island was a feeling, and the feeling didn't last. And the feeling didn't last.
After that, I was always going to the wood. Couldn't stop, couldn't even tell you that I would. Sometimes I'd take her in the body, sometimes just talk. Told her I was brave, told her I was sharp. Told her stories where I always played the harp. She remembered every word I ever said, and she'd tell them back to me on the days I wished I'd stayed in bed. Sometimes we go through the wood,
Looking for the sea, looking for the shore. Sometimes, but not often, not often anymore.
she tells me who I am, she tells me what I said. She remembers all my lies and she sings them in my head.
I traded a window for a body in the grass. I traded a calling for a mirror made of glass. And the island was a feeling, and the feeling didn't last. And the feeling didn't last. Year went on, leaves began to fall. No music, no island, no call. I slept in the wood, and I woke up in the wood. The sun was getting low, and nothing felt good. Looked at her, and her appearance was hateful, and she knew it, and she smiled, and the smile was grateful. The wood was small after all, a beggarly strip of trees between the road and a field I'd known forever. On my hands and on my knees.
You said you were brave, you said you were clever, you said you would never leave me. What I wanted is not here, it wasn't you I wanted, you know.
Wasn't it? Then be off, but you must take your family with you. She told me who I was, she told me what I said. She called them from the trees, they came 100 just like her instead. I traded a window for a body in the grass. I traded a calling for a mirror made of glass. And the island was a feeling, and the feeling didn't last.
skies through the bitter black. Frosty road and never looking back. Found a little inn at the break of day. Found a hard chair by the fire to stay. Red hair, red stubble, 3 chins tight. Buttoned up man in the morning light. Cleared his throat and he held my gaze. My name is Enlightenment, and you've been raised. You've been afraid of a man who isn't there. You can put down your car to rules and breathe the open air. There is no landlord, there is no black hole. The earth is round, the printing press, the gunpowder, the soul. There is no landlord, there is no thing to fear. Christopher Columbus, Galileo, and the road runs clear. Anthropology, paleontology, sciences I never learned to spell. An elephant escaped the local zoo, and that's how the landlord legend fell. Hypothesis becomes a scientific fact if you guess the same thing twice. The inductive method, my dear young friend, will sell you any vice. 12 million souls in Claptrap Town, corrugated iron falling down. But the publicists and the popularizers wear the latest crown. There is no landlord, there is no black hole. The earth is round, the printing press, the gunpowder, the soul. There is no landlord, there is nothing to fear. Christopher Columbus, Galileo, and the road runs clear. I came to a hill called Jehovah Jireh, though I didn't know the name. Mountains heaped up to the sky like clouds, green and violet and flame. I had never seen them beautiful, because I had been afraid. Then a man named Virtue met me on the road, and these were the words he made.
He said you could shoot the bird if you liked. Yes, if I liked, that's all. You mean you could if you chose? Where's the difference? Me. All the difference in the world.
All the difference in the world. There is no landlord, there is no black hole. But the mountains in the east are burning with a light I cannot hold. There is no landlord, there is nothing to fear. But the difference between could and choose is ringing in the
Adreson Salon fades.
Welcome to the laboratory, darling. Welcome to the salon. Take a glass of medicine. The performance has begun. The child's voice from a withered throat. Baratora, silken coat. She paints a red nose on a holy man and calls the desecration grand. Priceless, priceless, such courage to mock the dead. Priceless, priceless, such courage with cheers ahead. A drum he beats both proud and naked. A rod he holds and calls it sacred. He calls his hunger holy ground and spits in brutish faces frown. Priceless, priceless, so stark, so virile, so true. Priceless, priceless, if you flinch, the flaw's with you. She rises tall, all bent and torn, a sound from before the world was born. They wear the mud like cosmetics now and call the wreckage a sacred vow. Priceless, priceless, the future speaks in broken tongue. Priceless, priceless, if you don't understand, you're old, you're young. If you hated the lie because of how it ended, why cheer this one because of how it begins? He sees, he sees, he sees what we agreed not to see. Strike him! Drag him out! Close every door! Priceless! Priceless! Every window full of teeth! Priceless! Priceless! Every grin a sheath! Run! The sun went down behind the hills, and I went after, slow and lame. I wanted one thing all my life, and I had never learned its name.
He opens his country, he closes its doors, permits you to wander, exploring its shores, the appearance of freedom, till you reach the barred way, and learned you were trapped on your very first day.
I am not the man you met before. That was my father long disowned. children's tale. Each vision ended in a bed alone.
He opens his country, he closes its doors, permits you to wander, exploring its shores, the appearance of freedom, till you reached the far way, and learned you were trapped on your very first day.
The shadow on the cliff was not your own. It was thrown there by a giant at your back. The mountain you were walking toward was bone, and what is sealed can split along the crack.
He opens his country, he closes its doors, permits you to wander, exploring its shores, the appearance of freedom, till you reach the far way. But east of his country, the morning still prays.
There is a pit beside the giant where the prisoners crawl from light, where his eye makes flesh transparent, skull beneath the skin inside. But the boy remembered some things feed and some things only kill. There is a rider beyond the road, brought unto the giant bound, hooded in an aching blue, and breaks her chains against the ground. The cloak falls back, the night gives way, a titaness with sword drawn, unbound. She is the giant slayer. She is the steel between. She is the question without answer. She is the sword unseen.
Warmth of breath and bread, the living thread. Pain has no shape, no hue, corpse is dead. She unmade, what's in my head? Tell me, which is shadow, which is flame? Which the copy, which the sacred name? Follow longing, I cannot be the same. I cannot be the same. And the laughter rose, like a tide that broke through all my clothes. I fell, the fraud, the giant shows, crumbled at the joke. Nobody knows, nobody knows. Then she turned the blade, asked what I feared, said my dread was what the dream revealed. Ground beneath us disappeared. Could not match her horse's pace and speed. Lost the country where she meant to lead. Beg pardon, solo path I'd need. I opted for a solo.
Sit you down, the sun is low. Hear a tale that the old roads know. Once the world was a single form, all walked in calm before the coming storm. There was no fence, there was no fear. The landlord walked among them here, and then a hand, and then a tree, and then a bite, and then there's a crack in the world. There's a crack in the world. North to south, you can hear it groan through the marrow of every bone. There's a crack in the world, and it runs through me, and it runs through you, and it runs through every road we've known. Every fruit on every bough bears the taste of the broken vow. Every river runs through the wound. Every cradle is built on wood. And we built our towns, and we drew our maps, and we called it Build on Wind. There's a crack in the wall. There's a crack in the wall. North to south, you can hear it groan through the marrow of every bone. I have watched the proud men try the way. I have buried what the canyon takes. Getting up is another question. Getting up is another question. Getting up is another question. There's a crack in the world. There's a crack in the world. But the one who made the world whole made a way through the marrow and bone. There's a crack in the world, and it runs through me, and it runs through you. And the only way up is to move on. Sit you down, the sun is low.
Pray, come in, the gauntlets pour. Ashes are from my own yard. Take the chair, the fire is warm. The wisest man weathers every storm by holding all the rest at arm. Down, Rover, don't tease the guest. He has the mange, he's past his best. Sentence has been passed, you see. We must love them enough to enrich our lives, but not enough to grieve. And the dog lies down at his feet. And the dog lies down at his feet. The fire is high, the wine is sweet, and the man is kind, and the man is fleet, and the dog lies down at his feet. The island, yes, I felt it too, a pretty ache when I was new. But hold the cup, don't drink it dry. The wise man tastes the longing and lets the longing die. Le bon sens, que sais-je, moderate the heart, moderate the rage. Reason rides about in armor like a fool. I commend a softer rule. And the dog lies down at his feet. And the dog lies down at his feet. The fire is high, the wine is sweet, and the man is kind, and the man is fleet, and the dog lies down at his feet. I am Dutch, I bring the wine, I bring the radishes off the vine. He calls me whoreson when supper's late. He'll break my bones if I make him wait. He buried his last dog in the yard last spring. He'll bury this one before the morning. And he calls it kindness, and he calls it wise. You're the next dog at his feet. You're the next dog at his feet. And the dog lies down at his feet. And the dog lies down at his feet. The fire is high, the wine
Come in, the gossips pour. The garden's half an inch deep. There's solid rock beneath. I scrape the dust into a pile by hand. He calls it his land. The wall here keeps falling in. The canyon keeps moving in. I have built this wall a dozen times. I will build it again. The wall comes down again. The wall comes down again. The masters never see it till they're falling with a stone. The wall comes down again. The first one feared the dark. He talked of pleasure low and slow. He was the kindest of them all. He went down the cliff one morning long ago. Then 100 more came after, each one moderate, each one wise. Each one called the canyon nothing. Each one woke up in the rocks below. And the wall here keeps falling in, and the canyon keeps moving in, and the new master in the parlor thinks he is the first. The wall comes down again. The wall comes down again. The masters never see it till they're falling with a stone. The wall comes down again. This morning he called me hoarsen for the hot water being late. He buries his dog in the yard tomorrow. He thinks his wall will hold. I am going north. I am going north. I am going north. The wall comes down again. The wall comes down again. The masters never see it till they're falling with a stone. The wall comes down again. And there will be no one here to build it back. The garden's half an inch deep. There's solid rock beneath. The road runs north on the canyon's edge. The wind cuts cold and the gray runs deep. My legs grow heavy, my breath grows weak, and the light is something I cannot keep. Friends, I cried, I cannot stand. They called me up by the hand. The road would take me, the wind would call, but they would not let me fall. A gun up and walk this road alone. My feet are sore, my legs are stone. Virtue holds me on the right, and poverty bears me through the night. A gull in the wind on a stair of cloud, calling out far from the foam. The sky goes black where gray was loud. A window in the dark reveals a home. I cannot walk this road alone. My lungs are fire, my muscles gone. Virtue holds me on the right, and poverty bears me through the night. Three pale men huddle, a sputtering glow, each united in those they hate. They spurn the loves they do not know, and damn without debate. I cannot walk. I cannot walk. I cannot walk this road alone. I cannot walk this road alone. My mind is negation, my thoughts are prone. Virtue flanks me
fate's world to burn, yet I was not defeated.
I called your name into the dark. I groped the cold dust with my hands. I could not tell the ground apart from where I'd been, from where I'd stand. The night gave nothing back to me but stone and wind and open sky, and the thought that crept in quietly, had I followed a shade this whole time.
But I rose when the morning came. I rose and I wept, and I rose again.
There you were, alive beneath the dawn, breathing still, but blind and gone. I take your hand and we move on. The guide is to be guided now. The guide is to be guided. You smiled at me, a little lost. You could not see the road ahead. I pulled you up and bore the cost of leading where I once was led. I never was the strong one here. You marched your miles without a why, but desire kept me walking dear, and now desire must be your eyes.
I don't know where this road will end. I only know I will not let go your hand.
There you are, alive beneath the dawn, breathing still, but blind and gone. I take your hand said desire was a bribe. You said the road could not be trusted. You chose and chose until the choosing died, and left you here exhausted.
Quietly,
I never chose at all,
I only wanted.
and wanting kept me from the fall.
So now I want for both of us.
There you were, alive beneath the dawn, being still, but lined and gone. I take your hand and we move on. The guide is to be guided now. The guide is to be guided. South, we go south. Your hand in mine on the stone. We go south. Neither one of us alone. Come and sit. Do you not hear the thrush there? Silver pot and honey on the green. What the northern country left you frozen, here is soft and golden in between. I want my island in the west. Is the canyon crossing what I need? And what of Mother Kirk? Tell me, is she all they say need? Mother Kirk, I love her dearly, mind you, but she's gotten a little out of date. As for crossing, well, I wouldn't bind you. The truth, you know, is always much too great. I want my island in the west. Is the canyon crossing what I need? And what of Mother Kirk? Tell me, is she all they say indeed? I hate to see a question close too early. Every wonder has its own open door. The seeking, dear boy, is the finding surely. Who could ask or want for anything more? I want my island in the west, and Mother Kirk's the way. The canyon crossing clears the rest. I think I'll go today. came beside me in the night and did not speak my name. The moon was large and cold and bright, and nothing was the same. She led me past the sleeping house, across the silver lawn, to where a crack split through the ground before the edge of dawn. She said the gap is wide by day, too wide for any lead, but in the moonlight trust your feet and do not count the deed. Farther than I meant to leave, farther than the daylight dared, I flew above the mountain steep, and the island waited there. Below the cliff the sea was spread, the island caught the moon, more real for being far away than any afternoon. She said, when you have learned to fly, the island will receive you, but for this night the sight is all until the morning frees you. Farther than I meant to leave, farther than the daylight dared, I'll fly above the mountain steep until the island's the crack stands wide by light of day, but moonlight says now fly. And farther than I meant to go, I still don't wonder why.
sing alone was the truth that remained. When hope had been named and the dreaming explained, still only wanting. They fly with the warmth that philosophy lacks. They carry their hungers on second-hand tracks. What the Father can't give them shines past His door. They carry it outward and ask for more.
He showed us where the Spirit lives. The world below was filled with light, reflected in each face. The pleasure and the longing both were signs of something good and bright, too beautiful to waste. He showed us where the Spirit lies, and all this world came crashing down, a ruin from the start. The body and the soul at war. I'll cut the flesh down to the bone. I'll make an empty heart, and the valley floor fell open. The ledge was on. We had one voice we heard, two roads we read. Two roads from one false stone. He climbed and I was thrown. The floor was the fall. The floor was the fall. We followed when he turned away. He lifted up a stone and threw, and told me to be gone. He scaled the granite, bled and shook. He sent the boulder, never looked, and then he crossed alone. And the valley floor fell open. The ledge was all we had. One voice I heard, two roads we read. Two roads from one full stone. He climbed and I was thrown. The floor was the fall. The floor was the fall. He crossed the spur. And I was left below upon the ledge, the same. sat in darkness on the stone. The cliff above, the void below. A man came walking out of night and held a loaf that burned like gold. The help is real. The hand is real. You cannot have it both ways. Caught in the sight of the eye, I cannot flee. The world is full of him from end to end. And the bread was real, and the price was real. And I am not my own. I woke and horror found me home. The blue sky staring still and bright. The rocks were walls that would not yield, and he was everywhere in sight. The help was real. The hand was real. You cannot have it both ways. Caught in the sight of the eye, and I cannot flee. Caught, the world is full of him from end to end. And the bread was real, and the price was real. And I am not my own. I would curse it, but the bread was real. I would flee it, but the hand was real. I flutter, but not out. I beat against the cage, and past the end of all the world, he fills it still. In the sight of the eye, I cannot flee. The world is full of him from end to end. And the bread was real, and the price was real. And I'm not my own. You cannot have it both ways. He sent them pictures burning in the night, a longing that no idol satisfied. They turned to lust and magic, left the light, but every time they drowned it, it revived.
the longing and the lore apart could never heal a broken heart. Half a man beneath the sky, half a man upon the road. Neither one can tell you why, neither carries home the load, waiting for the third. And to another people came the road. No pictures, only rules to mark the way. They could not see the island, only strode, and kept the signpost standing, come what may. They were narrow, they were right. The longing and the law apart could never heal a broken heart. Half a man beneath the sky, half a man upon the road. Neither one can tell you why, neither carries home the load, waiting for the third. The third came where the two roads failed to meet, and carried both the longing and the law. He set the longing's eyes upon its feet, and gave the law its picture and its all. Half a man beneath the sky, half a man upon the road. Neither one can tell you why, neither carries home the load, waiting for the third, waiting for the third, waiting for the third.
He sends the island to the hungry heart, a longing wrapped in water, wind, and stone. He sends the lady where the darkness starts, and something hides in every field you've known. The longing slips through everything we know. Each picture holds the ache and lets it go. The siege stands empty, waiting for the one. East and west of all things under the sun. 100 nights have tried to take the throne. The picture fades, they're first to call it done. Still at the table, one seat waits alone. The blind boy jeered at songs still left to run.
the darkness, the cave filled up with light. A woman stood between us, bright and still. You know my shadow, not my face, she said. Take my hand, and I did not resist. The black rain fell, but where we walked it glowed. Each drop alive like diamonds, all sparkled and flowed. Into the light, into the light. The sea turned blue without a sound. Into the light, into the light. And I was carried, lifted, found. Cool dew lay on the fields and morning came. A river sang too bright to comprehend. The crowd around us moved without a name, toward walls and towers waiting at the end. The black rain fell, but where we walked it glowed. Each drop alive like diamonds, all sparkled and flowed. Into the light, into the light. The sea turned blue without a sound. Into the light, into the light. And I was carried, lifted, found. I knew those towers from a long way east. I seen them once before I knew the name. First sweet, then the fear rose like a beast. In rings of dread, the landlord and his name. The good kind landlord and the castle gate. I knew where she was leading, where I'd been. I pulled my hand, she would not let me wait. I struggled and I screamed and walked between. Into the light, into the light. The hand I could not pull away. Into rags are gone, all my skin is bare. The water's deep with moonlit shine, a circle of voices in the air, and each of them I once claimed as mine. The longer we wait, we'll lose our nerve. With that he was gone and our sky had fallen. I wring my hands, I shut my eyes, I breathe. I have nothing to learn, no thing to achieve. I let go of myself, I tumble headlong. No turning back now, abandon the throne. One says I'm lost, one says I've lost my mind. One says the one I love is just ahead. One says I'm young and there is time to find a better way than diving for the dead. I wring my hands, I shut my eyes, I breathe. I have nothing to learn, no thing to achieve. I let go of myself, I tumble headlong. No turning back now, abandon the throne. Down through the road where no man can go, down past the death of every self I know. A voice behind me, not the voice I fear. Child, this myth is my making. On your heart, have I seen? I wring my hands, I shut my eyes, I breathe. I have nothing to learn, no thing to achieve. I let go of myself, I tumble headlong. No turning back now, abandon the throne. Beyond the tunnel and the water's end, the light rushed back, the color and the sound. I let myself go. And my true self I found.
table and the rolling hill, but altered eyes show what they mean. A blade between and narrow still. God in His mercy made the borders of our grief, that longing be not swayed and once become leaves. The cold one coils to keep his prize. The hot one breathes to melt and burn. Between them men must choose and rise, as glass for light, or else be turned. God in His mercy made the borders of our grief, that longing be not swayed and once become beneath the willows. Old men sit who kept the flame but would not hope. The door was there, they knew it, and they in vain did call. The best is to possess the light, the next to want and be denied, and wanting in the dark is right, above the numb, the cold inside. God in His mercy made the borders of our grief, that longing be not swayed and once with them relief. God in His mercy made the fixed pains of hell, that misery might be stayed. God in His mercy made eternal bounds and paid its waves no further sway. God in His mercy made the fixed pains of hell. until the clean bones show. No root, no blade, no light, no shade. I have cut away the need. I only look below. I have cut away the need. There is nothing I I have made my soul a mirror cold and bright. I have turned my gaze from everything above. I now feel the God reveal. I have carved away the need. I only look below. I have carved away the need. There is nothing I owe. Though I starve, it proves that I am set apart. There is nothing that can enter in my heart. No unnamed need, no higher creed. I have cut away the need. I only look below. I have cut away the need. There is nothing I owe. Nothing left. Nothing left to feel. Nothing left to feel. Nothing left to heal. Nothing left that's The gray road stretches under clouds of lead. She came beside me softly without dread.
I will not lie to you or promise more than what this cup has always been before. my jeweled fingers at the door.
You know the road has nothing anymore.
There is a sweetness I am searching for,
You are thirsty,
and word by word she walks beside no more. The cup burns warm against the gray and cold. She will not stop, and I am growing old. I will not dream. The purpose of my journey gone to gray. No sweetness left, no longing lights the way. I will not
The mist went gray and then to black, a rattling in the stones above. The coils came slowly circling back. I held my ground and would not move. I ducked and drove the blade in hard. No blood, the gray mouth opened wide. The freezing breath was my ward. It sealed my heart and steeled my stride. He came back burning from the south, with smoke from every step and stride. The worm had poured from her own mouth. He took the fire and turned the tide. His sword arm blazed, his chest heaved high. He sang the word that breaks the stone. I shall rise up, I shall not die. He did not make that walk alone. Cold makes iron, fire makes will, to make whole by what would kill. Through ice and fire we walked the ground, and both came back and both were found alive. Alive still. We came back singing down the road. A fiddler played us home in light. Then John stopped still beneath his load. The ruined cottage came in sight. His father's house stood cold and bare. His father and his mother gone. The brook was dark, the mountains there, and something One voice, one face, one land. We are tethered, we are flame. The angels fly through endless day. No grief, no loss, no fading light. But we were made the mortal way. To love one face, to die, to fight. Sorrow is the cup they name it, from immortal lips, never filled. Woe is me that I can't claim it. This grief, this joy, this life fulfilled. I know not what the mortals say, how lovers die and youth walks on. I fly above all night and day, above all grief and all that's gone.